Hi, guys, and welcome to another Best 11. And today we are going to attack the African region. So we are going to go through the Africans' Best 11 during the FPL era. And that's the team they represented internationally, not someone like Vieira, who was born in Senegal but played for France. So there was only one man I could think of. His content is quite fantastic, actually, regarding FPL. But where he really comes into his element for me is covering everything Arsenal, pun intended. 5 minutes I turn into YouTube, the man has a video. Either it's under 23 or main team or any subject regarding Arsenal is there. His consistency is absolutely brilliant. Not only that, he's a really good guy. So I give to you Glen Kitely. How is that for an intro?
That's better than the one you did for Jay. That's way better. I mean, that's amazing. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, man. And before we start, a few people have asked me about, where did this idea come from? What was his inception? And Glenn doesn't know that he actually inspired me to come up with this idea. Because when I was on a video, he said to me, why don't you do something? And I said, I don't know. And he goes, no, you got some football knowledge. Why don't you think of something, maybe more around teams or players rather than FPL? And I said, you know what? I came up with this idea. So if I become a millionaire from this, then Glenn definitely has to have some percentage. So Glenn, I just want to say thank you. And he didn't know I was going to say that.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna use your term. I hope the check's in the mail.
Oh, yeah, that's my term. Right. I owe checks everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
before we start, Glenn,
Mhm.
everyone knows, but what team do you support?
I support Arsenal absolutely. For around since 2004, just like the next month after we had won the unbeaten season. I didn't know about that time. The thing that happened, you remember back in the day we used to have the kind of videotapes and the video and the videotapes where I used to buy
VHS.
and
Yeah.
I used to like rent tapes and then you come home and then we watch it. I remember I had it was 4 tapes. I don't know if I remember the fourth one, but it was Casper the Ghost movie, and then there was Home Alone, and then there was another program I've forgotten about. But the fourth one was a top 20 goals. There was a video called Top 20 Goals for Football. I didn't understand why it was there because basically my mom and my bro and my grandma, none of them really liked football. So I really don't know who brought it there. So I watched the Home Alone. I was happy with it. I enjoyed watching Kev and everything, watched the other programs. And then I just turned this one on one day and I was like, I really love this. I really love this. I was watching goals. There was this save where the keeper, I think the Colombian keeper or something, made a remarkable save with his legs in
The
behind his
scorpion
head.
kick. The scorpion, yeah.
That one. I watched it. I kept on watching it and watching it. And then I think I watched the David Beckham goal. And then my mom all of a sudden came in one day and was like, how many times do you watch this same video every single time? I was like I really like this football. I really like it. Like the goals are good. And then she just decided and was like, you know what? There's actually football. You can actually buy football cable and watch real games real time. I was like, can you actually
Amazing.
do that for me? I was so happy. I think she spent like, I don't know, $500 or something,
Wow.
£450 or something. And she was like, I'm going to buy for you to start watching football. So that was like early 2004. So she bought it like in June, July of 2004. And then I all of a sudden started watching football, the Portsmouths of this world, the Blackburns, Uniteds, and then Arsenal. I started watching Arsenal. I saw this guy called Thierry Henry. I really loved him. Again, I watched Arsenal again. So my mom was so happy I wasn't watching this same video of the top 20 goals. So again, the next month I did the
Variety.
same thing. Variety. The next month again, I did the same thing, watch Arsenal. And then 2005, I think, FA Cup final. And then 2006, I had school, I think, the next day. But I didn't care. I actually went on to watch the Champions League final. So that's why I know, you know what, 2 years and I've been following Arsenal. I think I'm actually a fan. So since 2004, that's how I became an Arsenal fan, just like that. From watching Casper to watching Thierry Henry in the space of a few months.
Well, some could say it was about a bit of a phenomenon, Thierry Henry, like
Mhm.
like a ghost that can't be explained. What was it
Yeah, there was a
about?
hat trick he scored.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go on. After you.
there's a 2 goals he scored, I think, against Watford. There was 3 he scored against Wigan in the last day at Highbury, just before the Champions League final, I think. And then there was a couple of goals against Portsmouth, I think. So that's why I like really love this guy. I'm like, I'm going to support this team. I don't think you actually tell yourself I'm going to support this team. I think you all of a sudden start following it and you have no idea. And then you think you actually, when they lose, you actually get hurt. And then you realize you actually love that team.
Yeah. Apart from Thierry Henry, was there the style of how Arsenal played that you could identify with? Because they played a very specific way of play before it became popular.
Yeah, so obviously that day I wasn't like into breaking down all the tactics and everything. So the two things I'd say is one of them, I remember a couple of games I watched where Arsenal went behind. I think it was highlights of the Liverpool game from 2003, 2004, where we were about to lose the unbeaten run and then Henry scored a hat trick. I remember I saw that, and then for the style of play, I was just happy about the fight and the passion. Like every time these guys faced United, it was a lot of fight. They never gave up. Plus, I also loved the combination on the left side with Ashley Cole, Perez, and Henry, however you want to call him. So I really love the passing style, the Wenger style, passing style, and all that. And that carried over to the Emirates era. And then all of I started watching every single time. I think actually I can say from the last 18 years, live Arsenal games that I've missed, maybe 10 out of the last 18 years of missed maybe 10 live Arsenal games, and maybe I was on a trip or something crazy like that.
And you are in Kenya, aren't you? Which city?
Yeah, Nairobi.
So I think you're, what are you, 3 hours? 3 hours ahead of us?
Yeah, 3 hours ahead of you. So the timing is not like those people who have to wake up in New York or have to go to bed early in Australia. So ours is just usual. And you guys are watching a game at 12 is 3 p.m. Yeah, almost the same thing. So yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, I mean, we could talk about Arsenal all day, but this isn't what the streamer's about. That's for next time.
Yeah.
That's for next time, guys.
Yeah.
That's for next time. Yeah. So, as I said before, so I gave Glen a list of 33, and he is the first guest who I know really looked into that list because he challenged me a lot, which I love. First of all, I didn't say it was a Premier League 11, so he said, "Where the hell is Samuel Eto'o?" And I said, "Oh, right, yeah, sorry." And I think this was a tough one, isn't it? Because there have been some positions where there haven't been great options for me, but then you have some positions where they're just stacked, isn't it? Like midfield and strikers, there've been some killers. So it must. I think it was a painful experience for you, possibly, to leave out some guys.
It was because there are like a couple of people like I think his name is Shaka Hislop. People like him, I really didn't watch every single time. I've only seen like a couple of highlights from West Ham and all that. So others, speaking of Arsenal again, others have really seen a lot. Others have seen us damage us a lot in the Premier League. So I can talk a little bit about them. So yeah.
Okay, so before we get into it, what formation did you go with?
I went for I think it was a 4-4-2, if I'm not wrong.
Excellent. So a nice old school formation, which you never see nowadays, but I like it. So
I was thinking of 4-3-3 at first, so then I just decided 4-4-2. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. So you mentioned about Shaka Hislop, so we're going to start at the back. And these are your three options. So who would you go for and why? I know Mendy's just come in, but I don't feel there've been a lot of top goalkeepers from the African region in the Premier League.
Yeah, you're actually right. That's why I was actually screaming at you, asking you where's the Egyptian goalkeeper. Why are you putting Mendy ahead of the Egyptian?
I'm sorry.
And then the Egyptian goalkeeper, you realize he never played in the Premier League. For Mendy, he's doing good. First thing, I don't even think he'll be there for that long to make his name that big. Maybe a couple of years, and then he'll also leave. So Mendy, I think, is one of the easier eliminations in this video. So we'll get him out. Hislop, actually, the place where I really knew Hislop was I think he's doing some work on ESPN, some Champions League work when he used to be in the Champions League. I remember I used to see him there, and then I didn't actually realize he was a footballer, but yeah, I did see him in his West Ham days. He was pretty good. Grobel, I don't know much about him, but I know he's one of the better goalkeepers in the Premier League. I think Hislop made them more appearances. So for me, since I don't have so much knowledge of Villa and Mendy is just recent, I'm just going to go with Hislop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the right shout. I mean, I put Grobbelaar there, but it was towards the end of his career when the Premier League started, because the Premier League's about 30 years now. Prior to that, he was a bit of a beast, but yeah, I think Hislop is the right call. Let's go to right back.
Oh,
Try not to be too biased with all these options, okay? I know this one's
yeah,
obvious, so.
yeah. Let's start with the. I don't know if you're allowed to use those words, but the guys down the road, as we call them. For
Child
Aurier,
friendly, okay? Child friendly show, just about.
yeah. So for the likes of Aurier, uh, I'd say Aurier when he was in the French league, he was very very good. I
PSG.
also saw him in a couple of African Cup of Nations with Ivory Coast. I think he won one of them. But at Tottenham, if you even ask the Tottenham fans, they really don't like him as of now. Yes, he does attack very well. The discipline is all over the place. I don't think he's a good defender. Always gives away penalties, dangerous free kicks, red cards. So for me, Aurier is an easy elimination. Ebue, now, the thing with the boy, I remember watching him, I think it was 2007 or something, and then he actually came on, and then 5 minutes later, he was like subbed off because fans were booing him. People usually complain about Hudson Odoi getting subbed off by Tuchel. They don't know about the Ebue days.
Mm-mm.
Like, Ebue he used to play right wing, right back, ahead of Sanya at times, behind Sanya at times. So I really enjoyed watching him. He did score a couple of goals. He was always part of the celebrations. I think, when someone scores a goal, he was always the first person to go celebrate with them. If you check all the videos, like
Oh, yeah.
Eduardo goal, Ebue is there. Van Persie goal, Ebue is there. So he was a really good servant at Arsenal. I was very sad when I heard that he was kind of broke a couple of years ago, until he was helped out. So he probably comes second on that list. He was very good. I liked his versatility, how he could play in like 3, 4 different positions. Plus, he helped us in our. I feel like with those times we had the Bo and those kind of players, we deserve to win a title. 2007, 8, 9, we were very unlucky not to win one.
Mm.
So yeah. Lauren, legend. I watched him maybe in his last 3 years at Arsenal, something like that. But before that, he was very good. Like part of a very strong team. Replacing the likes of Dixon is not easy, I can imagine. So getting to replace the likes of Dixon, those kind of right backs, we've had very, very good right backs over the years since 1992 and stuff. So him, the strength, also at Cameroon, he played really, really well. I think he won an African Cup. He used to get to the final very many times against Egypt and stuff. Very, very good player going forward. Servant across the title-winning seasons for Arsenal, unbeaten seasons. Very, very good player. So for me, it has to be Lauren. He also does a few journalism work in Spain for Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And also when he left Arsenal, he went wherever he went. I think it was Barcelona, if I'm not wrong. He did very well wherever he went, like for a couple of years. I remember watching him. So Lauren has to be not that easy, but I think he stands out more than the other two players.
So we bought Lauren as a midfielder back in
Yeah.
2000. And
Mhm.
in just 1 year, he transitioned to maybe the best right back that Arsenal have
Yeah.
had. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's incredible. Of course, Wenger was fantastic at that time for transforming players, but
Yeah.
for Lauren to become so good in that position so fast, it shows
Yeah.
the intelligence of the player. I mean, I have to agree
Yeah.
with you. Fantastic. So we've got Hislop and Lauren so far. To the
Mhm.
other side, I think the other side's a bit tougher. So let's see how you do here. So we have Quentin Fortune, Babiaro, and Jimmy Traore, who I don't know how won a Champions League, but please go ahead.
I think it would help since he played for Liverpool. I think it would really help since he played for Liverpool. That team with Gerrard, I think, was it? There's a guy I'm trying to look for. Alonso in midfield, Jimmy Traore. Those guys are very good. That Liverpool side is very good. They never cut it out in the Premier League, but surprisingly, in the cup competitions, they used to be very good. Like at that time, it was called UEFA Cup.
Yeah.
The Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, or Carling Cup as it used to be called. So those guys used to be very good in all those competitions. The Liverpool team. So Jimmy Traore, let's say it's not a name everyone would remember. Let's just say that. Yes, we would remember him because he played for Liverpool and we won Champions League. But that's if you really follow football and you follow Liverpool and stuff. So I think he did very well. But yeah, as you said, he's like Mustafi at Germany. That meme where it usually has like a car on top of a tree and then a horse inside a car, and then they usually ask how the hell did this guy things get here. Jimmy Troy is one of them, like just like Mustafi in the Germany
Definitely.
World Cup team. Yeah, so where did he get? How did he get there? Babayaro, Chelsea player. I think that was right before the money, Abramovich money.
It was.
Um, after that, obviously the likes of Bridge came on, but for that team, I think he was at left back. Melchiot was at right back for Chelsea. I think that time they had the likes of Desai,
Yep.
the likes
John
of
Terry just started as well,
John Terry just started, the
and
likes
William
of
Gallas.
Weiss.
And
Yeah,
Gallas.
Weiss were ending their careers. Maybe Drogba had not come yet. The Crespos were about to arrive. So he was a very good player right before the money. Played with the likes of Zola, very, very good. But I don't think he really stood out. Yes, he was good in his like African national team. He was good. People would remember him, and like Traore, people would remember him. If you ask people about Babayar, they kind of remember that name. So his name is legendary. So Babayar, this is gonna be a title, as you said. This would be like a 40% and then 20% for the third one. So let's see Fortune. Fortune played for United. Didn't really see him that much. Played in a couple of good teams. I don't think he, correct me if I'm wrong, was he really in a first team for United?
For a little bit, he was, because he transitioned into a left back, but it was more to cover Gabriel Heinze, the Argentinian, back in that time.
Yeah.
So he
Okay,
was never like a sure thing.
Yeah. So for Fortune, since he was in such a strong team at that time, I'm going to give him 38% of that vote, and then I'm going to give Babayaro 42 because he was in a kind of a weaker team before the money. Chelsea was just starting to come up with the likes of Zoll and all that. Gudjonson, they're starting to become a force, and he was very good in his African national team as well. So I'm going to go for Babayaro at left back.
Fantastic. But that was a tough one, but I agree with you. Yeah, I think
Babayaro
was a very exciting left back. So yeah, good call. Yeah. This one is really quite interesting, I think. So go ahead. I know one.
Yeah. Where do we start?
Start with the certain one. Start with the certain one first.
I'm going to remove Bayi out of there immediately. For Bayi, when United signed him, I was like, the way they were gassing him up, I was like, this guy is going to be a special player. He's going to be a special player, but the injuries have really affected him. Sometimes he doesn't even get picked for Cameroon. Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast. Yeah, he doesn't get picked for Ivory Coast most of the times. And those kind of countries, like no disrespect, like most of the African countries and teams like Asian countries, South Korea, the teams like Australia, Canada, such kind of teams, they usually have those names that are obviously going to be picked. Like Australia with Tim Cahill, whether he was 40 years of age, he was always going to be picked because he's the name that is known over there. Kind of for Ivory Coast, Drogba was always going to be picked even if he had a poor season. If you go to like let's say a United States, Dempsey was always going to be picked because he was one of the better players. So it's not like an England or a France or a Brazil where if you play poorly, you're not going to be picked because there are so many other players. So for Bayi, he doesn't even get picked for Ivory Coast sometimes. So for me, that's a no. Rigobert Song wasn't in the Premier League for too long, but he was a very good player at Cameroon. Like he was a very, very good player. Obviously the uncle to Alex Song, very played for Liverpool, so that was also before Liverpool was very good. Matip, let's just say no to him. I have not seen enough of him. Kolo Toure is the first one to definitely go into the list. Played for Arsenal, played for City, won titles, created defensive partnerships with very many people. So Kolo Toure, I'm going to go for Kolo Toure. Naybet, I don't know much about him, but Radebe is an African legend, so I'm going to go for Kolo Toure and Radebe.
Yes. I'm so happy you went with that because my dad is a Leeds fan and Leeds is my second team. And we used to see Lucas Radibi all the time. And I actually think Kolo Toure and Radibi right now would be an amazing partnership because you got the
more than 10 years like the Premier League.
Exactly. You got the pace and power of Kolo Toure and you got the reading of Radibi. He was so intelligent as well. I love your team, man. Stat. So we'll run through these a little bit quicker if that's okay. So we will now go to your right mid. And I actually think this is a little bit harder than people might assume. They all did really well. Like Kalou did really well at Chelsea.
Yeah. Again, for Kalou, it's just the same I said with Fortune. He was in a very good team. That Chelsea team was bad. That Chelsea team used to come to the Emirates and whip us 4-0. They are Nelka, Malouda, Kalou, Lampard, they are very good. So
Yeah.
Kalu, I think he was lucky to be in such a good team. I don't think he'd have the same kind of reception or legendary status if he was at like an Arsenal or a Reading, or for example, those kind
Agree.
of teams. So Kalu, I don't think he'll be there. Mahrez, very, very good. If he stayed at Leicester and kept on playing like he was at Leicester, he'd be top on this list. But since he went to City, he's kind of dropped off a bit. Of course, he's still a player who can score goals and can assist, but in terms of impact, is not as much. But Salla, I think Salla has to be there because this is his second chance. Like, he played for Chelsea, didn't really work out for him, had to go to Roma, to go to Fiorentina, and then come back to the Premier League when people had already seen him before and had already judged him. And scoring all those goals every single season, I think 5 seasons in a row, I think he definitely has to be there. So Mohamed Salah.
Yeah, he never really got his chance at Chelsea as well, isn't it? He hardly got
Yeah,
any time at all. But
yeah,
for him to come back and become probably one of the best wingers in the world, right? I mean, his
yeah,
stats are something incredible,
right.
but brilliant.
Yeah,
So we'll go to this now. For me, this is the toughest position out of all of them. Yeah, because there were some incredible central midfielders. So you have to pick two out of this. Take your time, but good luck. Because
yeah.
I think, apart from maybe Alex Song, I think they can all make an argument to be in the team for one reason or another. So good luck. I'll get my popcorn.
Yes. Yeah. So for this, I think this is where I'm going to take the most time, and then I'll try and cut it down for the rest.
No problem.
I'll start with Mikhail. Mikhail playing for Chelsea. He was supposed to join United in 2006, but he ended up at Chelsea, probably the best team for him. The thing with him, that thing that always stood out for me with him is at Nigeria and at Chelsea, I think he played more than almost 500 games, and I think he only scored like 3 goals. That I always found that so funny. Like, he was never interested in scoring goals. Even going forward, the clinicality was not there at all. So for me, Mikhail, yes, good servant, played for Chelsea for more than 10 years. Um, Good mention, but I don't think he's better than the rest. Jeremy, I remember they used to say he never actually owned a house in UK. He used to stay in a hotel, and he
Oh,
used
I
to
didn't
pay
know
every
that.
single. Yeah, he said he was afraid of buying his own house in UK. He wasn't ready because he didn't understand everything, and he said he actually preferred the food in the hotel. So he literally paid for a hotel every single day to stay in the hotel, like, for
And
more
it's
than
in
2 years.
London as well, man.
And it's London
London,
in there,
South
so
London is expensive.
yeah, so he had to be there. Like, he said, he had to be in the hotel. So that was very, very fun with him. Played very well for this team, for the Cameroonian team. So a good mention as well. But the first one who definitely has to go into the list is Okocha. Oh, the way Bolton wasn't that good of a team, but his partnership with I think it was Campo in the middle, very, very good. And
Very
if
good.
now this is one player where everyone will mention him as the best African player. I've seen a couple of people over on Twitter wearing an Okocha shirt, they're not even Nigerians, so that shows you. Also, he won't be coming up later, Okocha being the uncle and stuff. He's a legend. There's a time he actually has another record. I think he had the most shots in a season without scoring. Just the stats that I remember. I think it was like
That's not good.
2006.
That's not a good
That's
thing.
that's not good, but that showed you how much, like, he was carrying that team. They always gave
That's
him the
true.
ball, try something, try something, try something, but some spectacular goals he scored, quality free kicks and all that. So Kocha definitely has to be in the team. Michael Essien, there's the crack he scored against Arsenal in 2006. I have to
I
make
was
it
at that
1-1.
game. I was at that
I,
game.
I'll never
Unbelievable.
forget that. I'll never forget that. That was the first time I was taken to a pub to watch a game. I don't remember what was going on at all. That was the first ever game I watched in a pub. I was like, this guy scored in the 90th minute, and that still hurts 15 years later. So that's what I remember him for, and a couple of good goals against Barcelona. Alex Song, if you remember Van Persie's goals, Alex Song probably assisted them. If you
Yep.
remember Henry's comeback goal, Alex Song probably assisted them. So yes, a good mention, but Yaya Toure, the goals, the power in the midfield, the free kicks, the penalties. He never missed one penalty, more than 20 penalties. He never missed one. The way he single-handedly won City a couple of titles. There's a
Yep.
time he scored a brace away to Newcastle. City had given
Yep.
up on United, and he came through for them. Crystal Palace away, Yaya Toure came through for them. The time he ran from midfield and passed like 4 Villa players and scored the goal. Very, very good player. Yaya Toure, no Kocha, definitely.
How would it be set up? Would it be set up like a diamond or like a flat two?
Flat two power. They won't be able to get past that power. Yeah, to
Oh
no
my
coach.
god. Oh my God, it's stacked.
Yeah.
And on the left. Now, before we go on, Finidi George or George Finidi was a player I loved before he came into the Premier League. So when he came
Yeah.
into Ipswich, he was definitely
Yeah.
past it, but I just loved him from
Yeah.
the time before. So just special mention from me being a little bit of a fanboy, but please go ahead.
Yeah. So he wasn't in the Premier League that long, maybe a couple of years. So
Yeah.
for me, I think Ipswich also relegated during his time, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really put him in that list. But yeah, I agree with you. Maybe before that, but Zaha and Mane again. Zaha carries Crystal Palace. He was kind of good at United, but we never really saw much of him at United. So for me, I think this is one of the easier ones. I think it has to be Mane, just like Salla. The way he came from Austria and then really changed Southampton's fortunes, scored a bunch of goals. He also has the record of the quickest hat trick. That is not his. All those players who've been there, Aguero, Shearer, Rooney, Henry, this guy scored a hat trick in like 2.5 minutes, 3 goals.
Amazing.
So yeah, so that was not easy to beat Fowler's record. So Mane definitely has to be there, even just for that.
Fantastic. Any regrets so far? Are you quite happy with your team?
I'm quite happy with the team. Maybe the fact that maybe the midfield, maybe SCN wasn't a striker or something. So I would have loved to have more of those midfielders.
Out of every single player that played in the Premier League with an African representation, including Arsenal players, Michael Essien's my favorite ever African player. Because
Thomas
I think
Partey said that as well.
I think did he play at Lyon before he went to Chelsea? Was it Lyon?
Yeah,
Someone like
did,
that.
yeah.
And he was fantastic there. When Chelsea got him, I thought, oh my God, he's going to tear up the league. And he did. But at the same time, you make compelling arguments about Yaya Toure and Okocha. I think that's why I would have played 4-3-3 personally, because I'd have Essien in there. But hey, I'm sure Essien won't be too hurt when he watches this video.
Yeah.
So your front two, now there have been some killers. Special mention to Tony Yaboa. Because I'm a little bit older than you. Tony Yaboa was one of my cult favorites as a kid, specifically his goal against Liverpool, that volley, and also a goal he scored against Wimbledon where he just juggled it with his knees and smashed it. And Yaboa was known for rocketing the ball. When people say Hasselbank strikes the hardest ball, I'm like, you need to watch Tony Yaboa. But please go on, sorry.
Believe me, I've seen a lot of those goals many times. Yaboa was very good. I didn't get to watch him live or anything, but yeah, he played for Leeds, right?
Yes, sir.
I remember him wearing the whites. That's what I remember him scoring the goals with a white jersey on, and he was very good at it. But yeah, since I didn't watch him that much, I know he used to strike the ball very well. It could be a mention, but right away, straight from the bat, the first one who has to go there is Drogba. Just like Essien, he came from France. No one really knew much about him. He had done well with Marseille. I think he had reached like a UEFA Cup final or something somewhere and didn't win it. So coming into England, no one really knew much about him. He was coming to replace or to play the likes of Gudjonson and Crespo, and the way even if I just speak about Arsenal alone, this guy, I saw him scoring 15 goals against us live, like brace, Carling Cup final, brace, FA Cup semi-final, goal, Community Shield, 2 goals, Emirates Cup, he even scored against us in the Emirates Cup, 2 goals. So this guy was very good. Energy. He was the reason why Chelsea won the Champions League. He equalized for them. He scored the crucial penalty for them. He was a headache for United, a headache for Liverpool, a headache for Arsenal. He scored hat tricks against Barcelona. He scored hat tricks against every single team in the bottom 5. He was a goal machine. His free kicks as well, very good. He wasn't that good at penalties. I don't know if people know that he wasn't that good at penalties, but at free kicks, he was excellent. So Drogba is the first one who has to go there. He also won an African Cup alongside the likes of Yaya Toure during his time in the Premier League.
Before you pick number 2, I feel Drogba made the position of lone striker. And I've had this argument with people because before he came to the Premier League and before Jose, who back then was a great manager, I don't think he's a great manager now. I think he's just lost it personally. But anyway, I feel Drogba made that position, the target man, holding the ball up, bringing others to play. And I think, and for me, he was always a team player. I think Drogba is still underrated. I don't think people appreciate how great a player he's been for Chelsea. But
Yeah,
yeah, please go on. But I fully agree with you. I think Drogba is an incredible player and actually an
he was
incredible
fantastic.
person, it seems, with all his charities and stuff. So, yeah.
A very good guy. There's a time he built a couple of hospitals, I think, in Ivory Coast. He has a foundation over there, so brilliant guy. Aubameyang, maybe, I mean, these strikers who are here, it's actually very unlikely for him. This Aubameyang is a very good striker, but in this list, he could easily come as the number 7 or 8. That's how good these people are. So Aubameyang, very, very good. But before the Premier League, mostly Dortmund, Saint Etienne. As of now, I think he'd have to remain for another 6 years and score very many goals and win us some cups to be there. People like Drogba won trophies after trophies after trophies, every single trophy. So Aubameyang, not yet cut out for that list. Benny McCarthy won the Champions League in FC Porto. Mourinho brought him. Mourinho, I don't know who brought him
Correct.
to the league.
You're right.
Yeah, so he came to the league. I remember him a couple
into the Premier League? I don't know. It might have been
of
like Sam Allardyce or something like that.
yeah,
Blackburn?
Blackburn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blackburn. So he came to Mourinho, obviously had him in FC Porto. He came to the league. He was quite good, scored a lot of goals. There's a time I think he finished as a Golden Boot winner or came second. And that time there used to be like the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, very, very good players. So McCarthy, good for South Africa, good for Blackburn, but injuries kind of spoiled for him. So I don't think he cuts it for that list. Another player who played really well for their country was top scorer, I think, once in the league or second again was Yakubu. Everton, Portsmouth, I think 3 teams. I remember him scoring 4 goals in a game, and that list doesn't have a lot of people who have scored 4 or 5 goals in a game. Yakubu is one of them, and I think he's actually done it like twice. And
I
it was
think it
very,
was
very
against
good.
Reading. I think they won 7-3 or
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah. I remember at Goodison Park, so Yakubu has to be on that list for recognition. Kano, oh wow, the kind of goals this guy used to score, very, very good. Like the goal against Chelsea, I think in '99, where he scored a hat trick. Portsmouth, when he went to Portsmouth, very good as well. I think he won an FA Cup there, mainly because of him as well. He reached an FA Cup final as well, I think, against Cardiff. Very good player, would be very unlucky to miss out from this list, but he's one of the guys, just like you said about Drogba, the foundations and the charities, very good. Adebayo, for me, the most underrated African striker. Yes, Arsenal fans hate him because of what he did, but for me, that is the time where we were about to win the title very many times. Adebayo and Van Persie up front. He used to be a very good finisher. He used to score against every single team. That's why you hear records like before he beat United this season, he used to be the last person to score for us to beat United away from home at Old Trafford. He did score again at home, I think, that same season. Hat tricks, I think he scored a hat trick against Derby, home and away. Very, very good goals in the Champions League against Villarreal. I remember, I think it was a overhead kick or something. So Adebayo is a good mention. But the second one alongside Drogba, I think I'll have to go with Kano.
Wow. You had me on a tightrope the whole time. I was like, oh my God, who's he going to go for?
Yeah, they're easy ones to eliminate, like Aubameyang and Yakubu and McCarthy.
Why
But the
was
West,
Aubameyang so easy? Because he's got like 50 Premier League goals, I think.
yeah, but Drogba title, as
Course.
you said, you can remember it from making the lone striker thing, titles. Yaboa used to be, he had something that you can remember him for, the classic goals, playing for Leeds, all that. And it's not like Leeds were, yes, they were good, but they're not like a top 2 team.
Never.
McCarthy playing for Blackburn as well, scoring those goals for Blackburn, not a very big team. Kanu, legend, like every single club he went to, he was a legend. Yakubu as well, Premier League records, if you check, Yakubu has a couple there. Adebayo as well, I'm saying everyone there on that list is very unlucky to me. So that's why I was thinking of a 4-3-3 at the beginning, but I was like, who's going to play on the wings? I don't think so, anyone. So for me, Kanu has to be there because of the titles he won, the things he did in the Premier League. So he has to be there alongside Drogba.
Well, what a stacked team. And I mean, you're the manager of this team, so they're obviously going to have to listen to Sir Kitely. But who would Sir Kitely pick as his captain of this incredible African lineup?
Wow, that's a hard one. Probably between Radibi at the back or who did I? Definitely not Salla or Mane or players like that, not Lauren.
No way.
So not Drogba, not Kanu. So it has to be either Radibi or Kolo Toure, and I'm going to settle for Radibi.
Fantastic. I tell you what, man. Mr. Kitely is a very educated fan, I must say, because when I put Radibi there, I was like, oh my God, if I pick the lineup, he'd be in it and he'd be my captain. So the check
Yeah.
is in the mail, Glenn,
Yeah.
because you have gone with the man I really wanted you to go with.
Yeah, and by the way, I didn't do any research for all these players by the way. That's why I still don't know a few things about a few of them. So I just went from let's see who he has on the list and let's see who I remember. That's if you remember the guy, is probably a legend. So yeah.
Probably, yeah. Or he's like a serious clown or something like that, but I appreciate
Yeah.
it. But,
Yeah.
so before we go on and just wrap up the show,
Yeah.
I will be sharing Glenn's lineup probably 24 hours after I release the video because obviously I want people to have a look at this.
Yeah.
Some really good calls. I maybe the only one I disagree with is probably somehow putting SCN in that team, but then we'd have a different formation.
I do agree as well.
But I think it's a fantastic lineup, and I think one that I don't want to sound cheesy, but kind of close to you because I could see a lot of players you mentioned kind of maybe had a shape of how you saw football. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, Chelsea, Drogba, believe me, he did all the goals against scored against Arsenal. The likes of Yaboa, you know a lot about them, obviously your culture and all that. So that's when basically I started watching most of the football around the Benny McCarthy time, Yakubu time, Drogba time. So that's why I understand most about them, yeah.
And that time was brilliant for the Premier League because that's when a huge influx of the African players came in. So it made the Premier League better. So yeah.
I know you say something about Mourinho. That's the one thing I always give to him. He loved African players, and that's why I respect him.
So Glenn, thank you so much for coming on, man. I couldn't do this series without Glenn coming on because, like I said, the guy inspired me to start a series of some sort. So he'll be getting his anemones soon. Initially, it will just be like sweets and candy, but then eventually it'll be the checks of thousands and thousands. So let's see how this goes. So Glenn, please share where people can follow you, and I'll put it in the description when I release the video.
Okay, so on YouTube, if you just search for Glen Kitely, or easier for you, just search for everything Arsenal. It should come up. And then on Twitter, Glen Kitely as my main. I have a new page for basically the Everything Arsenal page, trying to grow it. It's just everything 49 AFC. That's everything 49 Arsenal FC. And then on Instagram as well, the 49 Invincible, something me and Ray would understand, you know, the 49 Invincible. So yeah, all the Arsenal fans would understand that. So yeah, that's on Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, Glenn, again, thank you so much, man. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was nice and easy going, a different flavor to what we're normally used to. Yeah. And we can start to reminisce about some of the great African players we had. But who knows? Hopefully we'll tap into that region again and pull out some stars. Aubameyang could soon be a legend as well, so who knows? Yeah. But thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll come to you soon. So see you later. Thank you.